Good morning. Happy Friday. I'm Britt. This is my channel, brittwriterly. It's a book and author too where I talk about the intersections of literature and culture, usually through my reading updates right here. This year, at least, is what's been the case. That's just honesty. And speaking of honesties, I will put one out this month, probably sometime next week. Yeah, I may even record it today. That feels like something that I should do. Just to, because I'm gonna go get my get back, I'm gonna be feeling real cute. So that's the time to go ahead and push record when I actually feel like being seen, even if I won't be seen that day. I'll be feeling like it. I'm gonna push record. That's when I'm gonna do it. So my honesties are where I get my writing updates. I used to do them monthly. And then I haven't done one all year because I've been having my nose to the grindstone and I wanted to make a big announcement. But you know what? The journey doesn't happen in big announcements. It happens in regular check-ins. So we just gonna do a biannual conversation, honesty, since it already is halfway through the year. So biannual is the only choice. And I'm gonna give some exciting updates. And maybe by the end of the year, there will be a big announcement. We don't know, but that's me. If that sounds good to you, and there's lots of like back content on my channel. So if you're new here, you have plenty to do. Please busy yourself. And if you like that stuff, you can hit that big red button and we can be internet friends. And even if you don't really want to engage with the content, you can still hit that big red button because if you like these FriYAY sprints, I do them every week. That's the most regular thing on my channel right now is these FriYAY sprints, hanging with y'all from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you for being here. For those who be ghost watching on the replay, we appreciate you too. And now I'm gonna let my lovely co-host introduce herself. What? Introduce herself. What? Shay, that's you.
I was. Did she miss me, y'all? Did she miss me? Is that what this is? Is that what this is? Good morning, y'all. We was running a little late because your girl was trying to find some undergarments. Let me tell you, when you only got a handful, it take you a minute. Is the truth. But we're here. We made it. I'm behind on reading, so all I'm gonna do is read. Okay, I'm lying. I'm gonna read and crochet and film all at the same time, but the something gonna get consumed reading wise. I might be listening to it, but you know me, I can't just sit down and hold a book in my hand because I haven't learned that toxic positivity is no good for me or productivity is no good for me just yet. I haven't learned. I'm gonna get there. But good morning, y'all. Hi. Man, see, there you go.
Good morning, Titan.
That was Cleo. I just got dressed. You saw me. I didn't have no clothes on earlier. I'm not ready to take you outside.
She's like, no. First she was walking around the
On
house
the
instead of
first,
walking us.
okay,
Now
on
you
the
want
first
to sit
sprint.
down.
On the first sprint.
Okay, well, let's greet the people and then we can get Cleo outside because if she
I'm getting
wanted
attacked. Oh, getting attacked.
Pat,
It's really
first
the
and per
way that
usual.
Titan wanted to encourage her to attack me so he could drag this blanket out.
Of course, Titan's like someone else.
Literally, as soon as she hopped up here with him, he'd hop down and grab the blanket and we'll pull it out.
It's like now's the time.
Y'all, I can't stand this little boy. Oh, he get on my nerves.
Happy Sunshine Friday, Pat, aka the general manager of live streams on this booktube niche. Tia, hey, happy Friday. Blessings and hugs. Gracias, Pat. Vina, you here early today. Oh, okay. That's funny. I took today off to get stuff done and I'm already behind. Girl, please. I was supposed to go to the gym to do yoga and weightlifting. Why did I get out of my bed at 9:18 for a 7 a.m. class? And here we are. Pat, it's productivity Shay all the way. Yay. Listen, we all just trying to get it how we live. Gonna bring the cafe home and make my tea and do an hour of writing today. Ooh, that's cute. Okay. Tangible reads, Courtney. Courtney, it's been so long. It's been so long. I shouldn't have left you. Well, actually, you left us. That doesn't work. Welcome back. Good to see you. Okay, let's get into the sprint since we are 20 minutes late. I could tell y'all about this legal thriller that I'm reading, but I'm going to get us underway with this first sprint. And then
here's the truth. She don't want to tell y'all because she knows she ain't going to be able to stop talking to not tell me what happens in the book. So I'd read it.
These are two separate books. This is a legal thriller. I told you about a psychological thriller. I won't even mention that one because you're right. I'll tell all.
Yeah, exactly. You see how I knew it because she didn't want to
bring that up.
But that's how I knew. That's how I knew. I was like, nah, yeah. It's because if she tell the whole thing, she start talking about it, we gonna know everything she knows to this point. And then
we're gonna know all the red herrings. We're gonna know all the
mystery.
We're gonna make it a whole
low key, I already told her what I think gonna happen from the little bit she did tell me. I was like, well, if I was a writer and these are the only options I gave you, she evil.
That wasn't all the options. I'm just telling you one of her impressions of the couple.
I'm gonna read it, girl. I just need to finish reading what I already started.
It's on script, so there's that also. It's on script. The Perfect Couple by.
I don't got a script subscription no more. I gotta figure.
Oh, you don't?
Well, because I shared it with that boy. And
oh man, right. The menfolk just. They messing up the reading.
He was like, I don't need to read no books no more. And so you
that's funny. I was doing it for you. So bye.
It's like, okay, sir. I feel you. I get it.
I'm not trying to be in regular literacy that particular way. You're on your own.
It's low key the way that I'm just like, announce it before you get rid of my Netflix.
Oh, we ain't had no warning?
And whatnot, just let me know. Well, not because remember when I got off the phone line, that was when I was like paying for a portion of it, so I wasn't sending you your money. I ain't on your phone line no more, so I'm not sending you nothing. So it's like, well, I'm not picking up the slack. But Hulu and Netflix, I just feel like warn me if I need to find another way to entertain myself.
And evidently you do. They light me up in these little comments. The gold, so the one I was telling Shay about, not this legal thriller, it's a psychological thriller called The Golden Couple. This is a new laptop. Is my typing still creating like...
No, it's not. It sound all cute and it sound all cute and stuff.
Yeah, the way I was like, I have to get a new laptop. I needed one for multiple reasons, but that typing thing, I was like, it's just so inconvenient. That means I can't multitask while in a meeting. That's not productive. So the psychological.
I'm not saying that this means writerly conversations is about to be up, but
hello.
Hey.
I'll just wait.
Hey.
Okay, so the psychological thing that I was telling Shay about is The Golden Couple. And I'm not gonna say no more about it because I won't be able to not say more about it. So the legal thriller, actually, who was it was it Tia? Someone from last week told me about it, Legal Defense. And she was like, yep, and it's on Audible. The first one is free. And I started reading it and I was like, whoa. Or as they say across the pond, rah. Did I get that right, Pat?
I'm not finna play with you. Ooh, Pat. I've been watching this British show with some friends on Twitch. Have you watched Top Boy? This show is interesting. Also, can I say I am very thankful for this new realm of chocolatey men that we have found to act in TV shows. I'm just saying, I love it. All the clear chocolate skin.
It's some actual tall, dark, and handsome. I'm with it.
I'm on this season, and it's this trio of brothers, and they all just handsome chocolate men. Like they're like kids, so like not like sexualizing them, but they just look so. I love the melanin, and he take care of his brothers. He a drug dealer, but they taking care of his brothers because they don't got no parents and stuff. So it's admirable. He a drug dealer with a heart of gold.
And that's how they usually write them. Mercy. I'm like, where y'all living? But That one where the woman allowed her mother-in-law to not die her at the table was 4. What?
Wait, what now?
Courtney, type that again. Autocorrect really tried to
That
form
is
against you.
I want to hear about another juicy book. That one where the woman allowed her mother-in-law to not unalive her at the table was. Oh, are you saying you rated it a 4?
I don't know.
I got questions.
Are
Okay,
we
so
are
apparently I got to place a hold on the golden couple.
Go ahead and place it.
I did.
When she starts talking about it, I'm not gonna talk about the golden couple at all. I'm not gonna say a word about it except for it's about a therapist who's lost her license for her out there practices, and she decides to continue to work as a consultant doing her out there practices, and people run to them because they work, and she meets a couple who seem perfect, but she's not convinced that they are, and so she decides to take them on as clients, and immediately her entire like 10 session, like I can fix you in 10 sessions, it starts to go left because it's like, oh, they came in because the wife cheated. This is the premise of the book. It's not a spoiler. They came in because the wife cheated. She's like, okay, you're not the first couple I've helped through infidelity. We can do this if you're willing to, if you both want to save the marriage, we can do this in 10 sessions. But when she tries to, everything just starts to go crazy. Like she's like, I can't help you if you're not the only one. Like if there are other people involved in your marriage who you're not telling me about and who you're not like admitting to yourself that are getting involved in your marriage. And so it just, things start to go crazy left, right, and center. Then she has drama from old cases that's coming back to bite her in the tuchus, and it just gets real crazy. So the golden couple, it's great. I devoured it. It had to be something like 3 days because my spin instructor told me about it on Tuesday evening, and it's Friday morning, and I finished it yesterday afternoon. And it was like 9 hours or so. Get into it.
I say it had to have an audio book because
Absolutely. What are we talking about?
2 days, 3 days. Man,
please. Even a short story that was printed, I'd have to be like, give me the week and I'll
girl,
definitely get back to you.
you ain't gotta tell me. I know.
So yeah, I'm not gonna talk about a psychological thriller, but the legal thriller, I sure will. Who told me about that? It was someone here. Sit Her at the Table was good. Okay. Scrib is absolutely better than Audible. It's
Oh
more
yeah,
bang
no,
for
for
you.
sure. Way more options.
Tia, it was Tia. Yeah, legal defense. And this is where this lawyer gets pulled into this really, really crazy case where this sound engineer. So there's this like super huge pop star, I guess, who is likened to Taylor Swift, only like a rock version of her. So I'm like, just say Pink. Like, just say Pink. Whatever. So it's because also she's older than Taylor. I'm like, y'all, whatever. If a man wrote this, I'm not even gonna hold. Michael Stack did, right? I'm not gonna hold you. Maybe you don't know about Pink. Maybe you just picked the first teen bopper that you found. Whatever. Anyway, so the girl Lizzie Saint, who is kind of like Pink, she gets attacked in her hotel room after a show. A guy, like, she's drunk, the whole band is drunk, and someone tries to shoot her up with heroin. Her roadie, their sound engineer, comes in, sees it, stops it, kills the guy, which wouldn't be a problem. It's the way he killed him. He broke his skull in 17 places. He broke that man's back across his knee. He kicked his face in. They think he might have bitten off his nose. It was either bitten off or kicked off. The coroner is not sure. He broke both his arms and his legs. Like, there was blood on every surface of the hotel room. It's the way he killed him that's about to get him the death penalty, because they're like, you can only defend someone with the equivalent force that they would have used to defend themselves. It's not a problem that you defended Lizzie Saint. The issue is the way you killed this man is excessive, which I'm just like, I mean, okay, but death is death. So why the death penalty if it's okay that the man is dead? It's not like he felt anything after that, but whatever. The point is, the lawyer has to try his case on the basis of the guy deserved it, essentially. Like, he has to play up the awfulness of heroin, which is what the dead guy was trying to do to Lizzie, inject her against her will while she was out of it. He has to try to make the case that heroin is so bad that it deserved the response that his client rendered, as awful and as unspeakable as it was. So that's the case. He was brought in only to be the local counsel, because the he's in Ohio, and the guy's lawyers are from Michigan. So they're like, the people, the local judges, you'll just be telling us about certain relationships we should be aware of if you know certain people, da 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 da. So he was like, I mean, okay. He told him he really didn't want to do it at first because he hasn't tried a criminal case in a minute, and his wife died of a heroin overdose that was cut with fentanyl. Her and like 5 people in one day died from this bad batch that was put out. And that was like 8 months or a year ago. It was super recent, to where everyone in his family and friend circle that heard that he was on this case as counsel was like, what are you doing? You should not be on this case. And he was like, I'm just local counsel. I'm not going to practice. Okay, well, the guy who was supposed to be on the case died of a heart attack 2 weeks out from the trial starting. And he was like, well, we better ask her for whatever they call it when you ask for more time for a trial. The guy is dead. Ask for more time. And the woman who came with the lawyer from Michigan was like, Hank, the guy who killed old boy, he's like, Hank doesn't want that, and neither does the firm. We want you to try this case in 2 weeks and win. Which the case is already slick unwinnable, which he's been telling them, but Hank doesn't want to make a plea for life in prison. He's a huge dude. He's big, and he's just a big dude. He's like, I don't want to live in prison. I'd rather just take a chance with the death penalty. And he was like, well, you're probably going to get it. He was like, not if you win. Like, he's that kind of obstinate client where he's like, I want what I want, and it's non-negotiable. Figure it out. That's your job. So now the story is about how he tries this case. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm 2 hours out from the ending, and it is not looking great for Hank. It's just not. And then they're bringing his wife back up, the lawyer. They're bringing his wife back up. It's so disrespectful. Like, what? How is that relevant? Ooh, this lawyer, his wife died of a heroin overdose. Is that why he's so invested in this case? No, he was coerced in this case in the first place. And oh my gosh, how did this courtroom heartthrob end up with a junkie for a wife? I'm like, y'all are disrespectful. Why did you have to say it like that? So it's just a lot is going on. I feel for him. But if he's the protagonist of this entire series, he's kind of funny a little bit. It would be way, way better with Aiden Snow. I'm not going to hold you. It would be better with Aiden Snow, whoever this dude is that's reading it. No shade. He's not doing an awful job. I'm not going to drop my ultimate rating because of him at all. I just know this dude, for him to be like as attractive as people say he is, for him, like, he took fighting classes, so apparently he's a really competent fighter. For him to be this guy, that to me deserves an Aiden Snow voice, not this regular male attorney voice, because he's not just a male attorney, he's a male attorney with a checkered past who can kick much tush. Give him Aiden Snow. What's wrong with you? Do you not know how to profile your characters? Whatever. We don't know how this narrator came to pass, but I'm just saying it'd be better with Aiden Snow. It's not the first time that I've said or thought that about this book, but we press on towards the mark. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be reading. I said I wasn't going to tell you about it before we started this sprint, and then Shay tempted me, so I did.
I just would like to, display for the people of the court the way in which I said absolutely nothing, and still somehow it was my fault that you was talking. It's okay though.
Yes, because I was done, and you were like, she won't want to tell y'all about it because and then I had to clarify there was a different book, and then because people were asking, I had to make sure they understood the premise of that.
But all those other things that had nothing to do with me. Like you had to explain why.
I was about to get on this good timer, and you, every time I try to leave, something keeps pulling me back, telling me I need you in my pages. Anyway, it's your fault. That's the truth of it. Samantha Marie, good morning. That duality with the drug dealing character.
Man, for real.
I hydrated. I don't even remember that, but I'll do it again.
It is definitely the duality. Cause I be rooting for him because he be taking care of his little brothers and stuff. And he go to the parent teacher meeting. He sat this white teacher down. He was like, cause he went to the first teacher conference with his brother, and he go to the second one, and he was like, yeah, no, he told me about your sarcasm. Don't nobody likes that. Talk to him like you got some sense, pretty much. And the white man was like, oh, okay, maybe we can start filling with some papers. And I was like, you go ahead about your brother, baby. You go ahead about your brother. He's like, no, I know he's a good kid. And I know he do what he's supposed to do. So, and he telling me, you like, because I guess the teacher, it was like kind of the interaction that the teacher would be like picking on them type stuff. And I just was like, come with the smoke behind this little black boy. Let him know he is loved and cared for. And what
and you're not going to try him.
Matters. You're not going to try him. I loved it. I
like because it was sarcasm.
Right, because it was two different teacher experiences. They had this amazing one with the
first course,
and then he get to this one, and he like, no, we gonna address how you was talking to my brother,
and that's what you have to do,
and that's what it should be. I was just like, and then and then he was buying drugs and shooting people in the next scene, and I was like, oh, it's just, you take the good with the bad. There's pros and cons to everybody. Is what I'm saying, like.
Oh my. That's the crazy thing, Courtney. He's not in love with her. When
just like to tussle Courtney.
I won't say what I'm about to say because I don't want to spoil it for nobody that don't want to read. But I mean, if the lawyer guy is an adept fighter, Hank is that plus 10,000. And also Hank is like in his 50s, so he done seen some things. He done seen some things. I won't say anymore lest I spoil. But yeah, he was fully able to run the ones if you want to play. And it really wasn't even a fight. I feel like in the testimony they said the guy hit him one time. That's all he got in. After that, it was just he was a hashtag after that. Like he was fully past tense. He was on somebody's t-shirt somewhere. It was over. It was not a fight.
You better make your next move your best move because it could be your last. So.
And it was. As soon as Hank saw him, he was dead. And he doesn't like him because when the lawyer interviewed Lizzie, he flew out to a concert and interviewed her. Well, wanted to talk to her so he wouldn't be surprised by what she was going to say on the stand. And he essentially said, like, because Hank was with her before she blew up. And I agree to you. She don't do the acrobatics, but I'm saying as far as like her aesthetic of her being like a punky rocker, raspy voice, it gives me more Pink than anything Taylor Swift has ever done and probably ever will do. In no way have I ever been like Taylor Swift rocker. No. So if you have to choose someone to compare her to, I would think she's more of a non-performative Pink. Because Pink can also stand flat-footed and sing. People really don't be checking for her like that, but Pink got a voice on her. Anyway, so he asked her when he went out to the concert, like, so how long have you been with Hank? And she was like, Hank has been with me pretty much since the beginning. Certainly since I went solo. He was with me before I even decided to go fully solo. We wrote my first 2 albums together. They went triple platinum. And when it was just us, when I was still trying to find a band, she was like, listen, I would have gave him some, but he didn't want none. And there was a couple of times when I was like drunk and fully, like she was like, I was a little tipsy and I would have been about it. And he just literally tucked me into bed and left. And she was like, I know he's not gay because he got women in and out of his room. He just don't want me like that. It's more of an uncle relationship. And so I'm like, he went in for her like that. And I do think he loves her, but he's not in love with her. He's just really protective of her. He wiped that man across the walls. He broke that man's back on his knee. He just, it does feel like overkill to me, but Lizzie's not mad at him. Everyone in her circle is trying to distance her from Hank, but when they brought her in for testimony, why am I telling y'all this? Read the book. But
because your name is Britt,
y'all know who I am. There's really nothing else to be said.
I just
Or
want to
was
say,
the bounce
am I
line on
to
drugs
blame
too?
for
No,
this
Hank
too?
wasn't on drugs.
Is all this my fault too, or not? Is it on you now, or is it still
No,
my
it's
reading?
continuing to be your fault because we would be 15 minutes into the sprint if not for you stopping me. All of this, absolutely. All of this. I was side-eyeing the woman lawyer listening the whole time. Hello? Yeah, they would, the way they were like, we won't hear of you trying to convince Hank to take a plea. Hank past tense somebody so hard, they're in past perfect tense. He just put that man under the t-shirt pile. That man ain't never coming back nowhere. He's never gonna be reincarnated. It's done. And y'all don't want to talk about a plea? Okay. Did you get to the scenes with Nate and Mitch Pearson? The beef between them is entertaining. I don't like Pearson. Pearson is a trash bag. He is a trash can lid, an uncleaned trash can lid. This is the detective on the case. I hate how they always be making detectives incompetent or unnecessarily mean. Why? Because they ain't had to done it for the day. Like, why? He's mean. He was on Nate's wife's case, a full jerk. He was like, well, police cannot be accounted on to mitigate the risks of junkies. If you don't care about yourself, why should we care about you? Which he then repeats in open court. I said, so you're not ashamed of this viewpoint at all. Got it. Roger that. I don't like him. And then, did he investigate the man that was trying to shoot Lizzie up with heroin? No. He basically called her a junkie, even though there is no evidence she has ever done drugs. I don't like him. He's giving incompetent and spiteful. Tia, I see the comment that you're making on account of Shay. I'm just not going to highlight it. Desiree, hi.
Oh, so now I got to open the comments tab so I can read somebody defending my honor. It's the truth because I already knew y'all was because we know her. Over here talking about it's my fault.
My fault. Take responsibility.
I've been on Twitter going through this woman's quote tweets on this stuff she said the whole conversation because I knew we was going to be here for a minute. Is the truth. I love you.
My quote tweets?
No, somebody else's girl. I'm talking
about. Oh, okay.
Yeah, not you.
Hey, Desiree. I was like, I don't even be on that.
Ate up on Twitter. Oh, the comments is hilarious.
Listen, what is the book called about Hank and Lizzie? Lethal Defense. I typed it earlier. Oh, look at Courtney. Y'all have each other's back. I appreciate that. We need to find a book to hate read together. All of the other No, I'm so sorry. I'm never going back. Literary lady, Liddy, I'm never going back there. I'm never going back there again. But if Shay wants to do it with you, I'll cheer along from the sidelines.
Oh, you said you want to hate read. Oh, are you saying like we read the other black girl? Or you saying something else? Because I'm trying to understand. You have
like a book like the other black girl. But here's the thing: the gag is we didn't mean we
did not read it knowing it was gonna be that way. We was totally we were rooting for you, and then
we were all rooting for you. Because hate reading is the quickest way to put me into a slump, and I'm already there. And Shay had to gather me in right before the stream and tell me that I've been in a slump for YA fantasy for going on for over a year now. Time wasn't timing to me. She had to run some book publication dates back by me to convince me of the fact that it's been since 2022. And that's a hard truth to swallow. It is. But the point is, will I intentionally hear something? No, can't do it. My constitution can't take it. Can't do it. But if Shay wants to do that for you, I'll be reading you on the sidelines. Birdie!
It depends on the story, really. It depends on the story. Because y'all know the last one I hate read was that yeah, what was it? What was that girl? What was that? Cherish Farrah Bush. I mean, I didn't say it. I caught myself. I did. You see? I did.
On this channel, on this glorified holy channel.
Hey, you know, delivered from this foul language.
Amen.
I don't like cuss words no more.
Amen. Created me a clean heart, O Lord, and renew a right spirit within me.
Right, it's definitely in my camel. It's for white people anyway. In my camel stage,
we don't want no part of it. We don't want no part of it. And when they give it a series, which they said they were going to do a couple years ago, if that ever comes to pass, won't be hate
apparently
watching.
they did casting and everything. I don't know if it's still gonna be a thing. I'm, I don't normally root for people's downfall. However,
you ain't got a downfall. You just ain't got to go no further than you going.
I'm just hoping it be one of them common things that's in Hollywood, one season and no more. If we
Hollywood
have to deal with it, I would like for the Black people involved to get paid.
Get your money. Get your money.
But then I would like for the world to watch it and be like, we ain't with it, and then there it goes.
Is the world gonna do that though? Black Twitter will
get your coins, but
Yeah, Black Twitter will, but will the white folks? Depends on how much of the viewership white people take up.
It happens.
If it's primarily a Black viewership, it depends on the network they do it on. If they do it on a network where it's primarily white viewerships, then honestly, I don't feel like they would care either.
Yeah, no, I think it's primarily.
I don't feel like the white people.
Well, so here's the thing. So they're talking about making it a comedy, and that's the only thing that I think is going to keep it. That might keep it alive. Is if you I don't know how it's supposed to be a comedy. I was totally thrown by that. But if it's one thing Black people gonna do is laugh. If it's one thing Black people gonna do is laugh. And I think that might be the only reason why
we are gonna laugh, but we're also gonna roast
tell
the
me
snot
that
out
Key and
of
Peele
it.
and the Black Lady Sketch Show is funny, and I stays telling y'all that I'm just saying I don't find them funny. I find individual sketches icky, but the actual overall show is icky on multiple things, and I'm not gonna say why I find it icky because if you ain't got nothing nice to say.
Hello. Good morning, Mayama. What do you mean? Literary lady, here's the question on the floor.
Okay, I'm not going to hold you. You're not
Shay,
the only person to tell me that. I feel like I don't know your name, literary lady. I feel like I don't know your name.
If you want us to know your name, feel free to tell us. If not, we will continue to call you literary lady.
And if you have, again, charge it to my head and not my heart, because normally I remember.
Right, like Shay don't know.
I don't remember calling you anything other than literary lady, is the truth. I do remember you having a different avatar one time. That's it.
It's Nia. Maybe I did know that. That sounds familiar.
Okay, so in my head, I don't know why I was thinking Tia the whole time too. So maybe you did. Because I was thinking Tia. But I was like, nah, it's because the other Tia is here. That's why I'm thinking that. Okay. Hey, Nia. Hey. Yeah. How you doing? I feel like, ain't Nia purpose? Ain't that purpose? In Swahili?
Yes.
Girl.
Yeah. Walking it.
Running low.
And Shay's gone. But she'll be back. Amari and the Night versus Point Black. What do you mean by dry? I'm not saying I disagree because I've been in a slump. But what do you mean by dry? I wouldn't watch it even as a documentary because what are we documenting? Tragedy? Confusion? Like what are exactly? After what happened with Kindred, I can't trust them to do anything right, no matter what take they try to put on it, no matter what kind of spin they try to put on it. I just don't believe. Left my laptop at the office, but I'm back. Hey, happy Friday.
Hey, on the Lord. Am I back?
You are back.
Oh my gosh. It's the way my computer was plugged in the whole time. I don't know why it died. It was plugged in the whole time and it was like, it's dead. I don't know. Don't be trying to get me to buy a new computer. We better stick this out because nah.
Nah, DJ.
That's right, girl. That's what I said. The only reason I think if it do go past one season is only because they chose to make it a comedy.
Which even that, again, I'm like, just because Black people do laugh doesn't mean that we laugh at everything. Some things we just roast. Y'all really want to roll the dice on which one you're going to get.
I'm going to text you what I was about to say. And
on that good note, And on that good note, Nia, if you want to tell us what precisely thou meanest by YA and middle grade being dry, go ahead and put it in the chitty chat. We're going to see it after we get done having some time with Otis.
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 Everybody coming to see you, Otis.
Hey, we here for you, baby boy. And 3, 2, 1. We're coming to see you, Otis. Okay, it's so interesting that y'all even heard the music because I most certainly did not. And the tab is not muted. So, I was going to say, I don't know why I put a grape in a frozen grape in my mouth at the second I started talking to y'all. That was ill advised. But anyway, StreamYard has been changing a lot of stuff. So, and most of it I have not cared for. But this, the way they've changed the present button and function, it's a lot easier. So I like it. Anyway, let's see. I'm on chapter 35. Hour and 20 minutes left. I probably will finish it even after this stream. I need to work on something on Canva, and so I will probably finish this book while I'm doing that. If it takes that long, it shouldn't, but I just need to do a thumbnail and like an IG posting. So I'll probably will be able to finish it if we do another sprint, which I don't know, it's 11:22. If we start by 11:30, I will allow us to do a 30-minute sprint, even though it'll mean it's going a little bit over 12 with our closings. So we'll just see how fast or little I can talk. Okay. Okay, Deidre, I will not be watching the other Black girl, hate watching or otherwise nobody asked for this and didn't.
Okay, so here's the update. It comes out in September on Hulu.
This September.
This September. So what I want to know is why have we gotten at least 13 other Black books optioned before that one that we still ain't got shows for?
Where's Bishop Prey?
Where is the freaking Broken Earth trilogy? Where is the Broken Earth trilogy? That the last book came out 6 years ago. Why?
We're all waiting for that.
Why do we get the other Black girl before that?
We all thanked you for that. You putting out this first?
I have my Hulu subscription. I don't want to watch it and add to, just like, remember when they made that horrible, what is the word called? What is it? Biopic? Oh, is it biopic? Remember they made that horrible biopic, whatever, that word. When they made that horrible one for Aaliyah, that everybody was like, the casting, the choices. And remember when Timbaland and them was like hate tweeting about it and it made people go watch it because of that? And Wendy Williams was like, well, the numbers speak for themselves. That's the only reason I'm not gonna watch it. I don't want you to count my watch as somebody who enjoyed themselves.
No, yeah. Nope. I think the middle grade does too much with social issues or trying to over-explain cultural.
I totally agree with this. Totally agree with this. Why do we have a middle schooler infiltrating a white supremacist organization, passing and trying to date the son of a white supremacist in a middle grade book? Why are we that? Girl?
Who was that?
Girl, why are we tasking middle school age students with being the agents of change when it comes to white supremacy?
We're being Cubs, with Black Panther Cubs. Wait a minute.
No, not even Black Panther Cubs. No, nowhere even close to that amount.
Say the name. They put the book out in the world.
I don't really know the girl name, but I know she in Crime Writers of Color.
You did mention this.
Yes.
What's the name of the book?
What? Vina know? Vina dropped the name of the book. Vina know the name of the book.
Yeah, you still here?
I don't know either. I just it's not Amari, but I mean the way that it sounds the same is the issue.
Ciao. Let's see. Jalen came in. Good morning, Jalen. Yeah, I had no power over that, Jalen, because like I said, I couldn't hear it. I thought that it wasn't playing until you said
it's this. It's probably that you had the tab muted without realizing it.
I checked. It's not.
Yeah, you said
you heard it too.
Yeah.
How I have it muted for me?
That's what I'm saying. You might have the tab muted.
If it's muted, then why would y'all be able to hear it and I'm not?
Because it's muted on your computer. It's not muted through you sharing the sound from it.
Interesting.
That's why I said you muted the tab and not the actual video. Because if you
although I do like their music.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I'm listening to an audiobook, so I would have had to lower it anyway. But I'm glad that y'all hear it because I do like Otis's music. Otis made good music. Let all the haters be on notice. Otis make good music. So I even when I didn't share it with y'all, I would be listening to his music during the sprint. I just didn't know how to share the sound and had no interest in figuring it out. But I'm glad this new upgrade makes it very easy. Okay. Courtney went for a workout. We'll be back. Hopefully we'll still be here. Well, depending. I made my tea and wrote 200 words. Go you.
Nice.
Nah. Now let's be honest. Some of those options rights already ran out, so those shows aren't being made.
Right, and then the conversation.
Wait, what does this mean?
Like, so like you only, when you buy the options, it only means that while you have the option to make the show, you're not necessarily making the show, but nobody else can make a show while you have the options. And so that's part of the conversation too, is like how many people are optioning these shows just so that they never get created.
Why would you do that?
Right. Like, why would you pay to option? Why would you say, hey, I want to make this into a show and then never make it into a show?
So if you don't use the option, no one can ever make that show again?
No, like they lose the rights to it. But you have to wait for that to happen for somebody else to be able to get the option the rights to make the show.
So how long do the options last?
It depends on what your contract was for.
So they can be made later. It'll just take longer. Because if the options rights already ran out, then the shows can be made by someone else.
Right, but usually by then time is pat, right? Because you have it for a certain amount of time. So to jump on it when everybody was trying to jump on it, and then you don't make the show, and it's 5 years later.
Yeah, people ain't checking for it no more.
Or even if they were, they might have moved on and got other projects within that time, right? Because it's been 5 years.
That's a different book you're talking about, too.
Yeah, it's a different book. It's called Undercover Latina, Venus said.
Oh. Child. Yeah, they putting a lot on these kids. How you gonna say kids going through a lot and then put a lot in the books? Like, you have the power to show them a lighter, happier childhood.
Right.
And you just
and here's my thing is y'all already make YA dark AF. So why are we also making middle grade is one of the like hallmarks of getting kids to read sometimes. Why would we put them in such a negative headspace at such a young age?
But they gotta get
they already gonna have it when they try to go up to the older books. So like why are we trying to rush it? I don't like it. I don't like it. And also, why are we putting the onus on children to fix adult problems? I just don't even freaking understand that. Especially because kids don't even have the experience to understand all of the problems. And they didn't create it.
Right. Just because it's affecting them doesn't mean that they have the resources to even interrupt the processes or know how to do it. Like, that's just, you got grown adults talking about what woke mean and what don't mean. Why are we doing this to kids?
A child spy and you having to pass for Caucasian and date a white supremacist, meaning that you would have to engage in things to make him believe that your beliefs are also the same thing. Trauma. Why would you do that? And also, as a person of color, I know I hate that word, why would you put that onus on other children of color? Why wasn't it a white character infiltrating a white supremacist organization?
Hello? Let them do that. Let them do that. Let it be them. That's their cross to bear. I heard good things about Amari. Was it trauma?
I
know her brother got taken and she goes into this different world.
Well, no, it's still kind of like what the other book is. Like, she's like infiltrating a white supremacist organization.
Wait, she is?
I feel like, yeah. Ain't that like the story?
I did not know.
Like she's like one of the only black people or something like that. Like, I feel like when Deidre was giving me her rundown and her issues with it, like I feel like I'm not making it up that she's also trying to like infiltrate or take down or go up against a white supremacist organization as a kid.
No, I didn't.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all done read it. I ain't. But I feel like that was a consistency. Right?
Well, maybe you're right, Shay.
No, it's definitely holding stories for ransom.
Oh goodness. I know Tanner Reeve and her husband are optioning one of her books, no detail releases yet. Goodness. Oh. Mm. Yeah. That's trash. Because Hollywood need good ideas. I don't know what the point of buying a book is, of optioning a book if you don't intend on actually producing it. We're just happy you're here, Maya.
Oh no, hey Queen. But also the other part of this is like, why?
That's
Like,
crazy.
here's my issue: is we already Hollywood is oversaturated with y'all trying to recreate everything y'all already created, and now we have actual new stories,
And
actual
zero
stories
die.
that highlight and focus Black kids. But one, either we are giving them trauma out the wazoo, or in the ones where we don't give them trauma out the wazoo, y'all option them to never make them a reality. Why?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I feel like once again, it's people like, oh, well, people are engaging with all these things that y'all call trauma porn and say you don't like. Well, because you're not giving them much else.
You're not giving them much else.
And even when writers do try to create something else, they don't get marketed. So it's like it
And
never
I'm not,
happened
I'm
because
not
we
gonna
don't know
hold
that it did.
Vina, the stuff that you're saying now. Deidre is the only person I have heard read this book and like be vocal about not liking
Amari,
it. Amari. Everybody else I know has
same.
not had anything negative to say. But remember, the same thing happened with when I told you the year of the witching. Nobody told me she was in a white supremacist, a white church cult thing. So I had no
That
idea
was in
she was the
chapter
only
one, though,
Black
so it
person.
didn't take too long to figure it out.
Right,
I got chapter one. I said, oh, I have to head out.
right.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Whew, we hate it. I read Honest June, and I wasn't expecting for my childhood trauma. They love. I mean,
Man, they love triggering them up.
I'm just, and that's why it's like when I was doing hashtag first fantasy, and I think this is really the beginning of not hashtag first fantasy, but what we're talking about, like this rise in trauma and YA fantasy. That's really the beginning of when I started to get into a slump, because I don't read for that. Life is hard. I do not read to be represented with the hardships of life. And I'm not saying don't put real things in, because I love Kindred, right? Like the book, the novel. It's hard, but I'm not saying there's not a way for us to put things in books that allow us to wrestle with familiar demons in different presentations and allow us to come to some greater understanding of ourselves and the past. Like I'm not saying that. There's a way to do that. But
Yeah,
Kindred
no,
is an adult novel,
right.
and it's not throwing on trauma for the sake of trauma. It is having this Black woman really consider her identity against this traumatic past, which is something that Black people have to do anyway. Like it's helping. It's not just hurting for hurting. And with these kids, I'm like, are you advocating for them to do this? Because I feel like in a conversation with Octavia Butler, she would say / has said that she did write Kindred to check some people who were saying things like, if I wanted to be a real revolutionary, I have to kill my parents, because my parents are doing all of this like white assimilation. Like it was very over the top revolutionary rhetoric about what it was to be Black, and not naming and appreciating the sacrifices and the strategy that our ancestors had to go through to get us here, but really like haranguing them for those sacrifices. Like that's what she makes Dana have to address in Kindred. You want to say that you wouldn't have taken XX and X, were you in the antebellum South, but you weren't there and you don't know what they had to do to survive, so you can sit here and talk nonsense. That's a valid conversation, especially for her time when people around her are really saying that. Are kids now saying, if only I could have infiltrated the KKK, they would never have read out like they wrote out?
No, we don't even. They're not even talking about the KKK.
And that's what that's the difference. She was responding to conversations her peers were really having and making a statement and setting up a scenario for some real conversations. That's not what's happening in Kit Lit right now. So then it's just trauma for the sake of trauma for what? And that's when I really started to get weary of reading these stories and making sure that my story wasn't doing that too, because which like Shay would tell me if it was. But excuse me, there's a it ain't gotta be all it don't even have to be all sunshine and roses to not be what it is now. Because the hard things happen. Like Harry Potter is about a full-on orphan. Bad things happen to him every book. But I don't know. There's a way for kids to go through difficulty without.
I mean, legitimately, they made the series of unfortunate events 13 freaking books. And ain't nobody had a horse like them.
That's what I'm saying. I don't plan to read more too because there was too much in her book one that I couldn't see. It is young girls in this situation. Amara is the only Black girl in the org, and she's from the projects while all the other kids are from the wealthiest families in the world. Oh no. On top of that, she's the only one to be a magician agency, and they hate magicians, obviously. So her Black girl magic is an issue. Got it. Hey, Vicky. I like the book, but I get tired of Black people being the only one. I get sick of that. That was my biggest beef with Legendborn, because I say every time we bring that book up, it's well written. It took me months to get done with the audiobook, but when I had to read it when I put it into my SFF class, I was like, oh, this book is well written. It's well written. I think I gave it like a 4.5 when I first read it, when I finally got through buddy reading it with Deidre the first time. But that her being the only one rankles. It rankles me. I can't get over it. It only gets worse the more I think about it. I don't go around thinking about Legendborn all the time, but whenever it comes up, I'm just like, I just can't get over that. And the fact that it's not set up to be different in book 2, much like Amari, I'm all set.
I just really don't understand. I don't get being the only Black child and wanting to write books about people being the only Black child. Like, that's not what you wanted. You didn't want to be the only Black child. So why would you keep creating worlds where other Black children are the only Black children?
Okay,
I can see that. Well, that's the other thing. Can we talk about how don't nobody go to therapy hardly? There's no recourse for the trauma that we putting anybody through.
You got to figure it out yourself.
Right. Children. All right. Oh, all right.
And then when they make dumb decisions, it's like, well, there wasn't really a chance of them making a wise decision in this scenario. I'm just witnessing a train wreck that was always going to be a train wreck of one kind or another. And that catharsis doesn't, for me, I don't feel like it'd be happening. It just seems like trauma on trauma on trauma, and I'd be waiting for the get back to come, and the get back don't ever come.
Happen, it's not NYA.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, I feel like I just need to pick up some pick an adult YA fantasy and cleanse my palate of YA fantasy. Huh?
I'm not. You said an adult YA fantasy.
Is that what I said?
Yes.
Help me. Yeah, I just need to pick up an adult fantasy.
I just don't understand how you have a Black therapist and you Black and your Black therapist don't recommend you hanging out with other Black people, because every Black therapist I have has in every situation.
Who you talking about?
Because in Legendborn she had a Black therapist. In what situation are you in a traumatic situation in a new place with a bunch of white people and your therapist not suggest you search out community? It was disappointing.
See, Deidre, I love Kindred. It's hard, but Beloved is
But
hard to a people.
I think Kendrick also for Deidre is the same reasons for Amar. Like people like leave out a bunch of stuff when they talk about how great they think these books are.
I don't.
Yeah, right. But I feel like when you were talking about Kendrick was like after the fact, because like I like literally Deidre is the only person I heard say that she was married to a white man, and that's when I was like, wait. I was like, hey, Britt, nobody ever said that in the story. Not one person I see talk about it before she told me that had said that. And maybe it's
But you know what? That's been the case since it came out. Like even when I was reading the literary criticism, that came up in a couple of the articles, and they were like, it's very strange that people don't mention that Kevin is white. And these are not new articles, so that's been a thing. I don't know what. I don't know if they just can't wrestle with that element of the story, like what it means for a contemporary black woman to be married to a white man when she's going back in time and at the mercy of
right.
white
That's a huge part of the story.
right, like that. Like Butler wants us to wrestle with that tension, and people just refuse.
Right.
People just
And I was
refuse.
like, how do you not talk about? How do you what? How is it not okay?
Right. It's a full chapter of my dissertation. I'm like, what? How are we not talking about this and what this means?
Right.
I try.
Yeah, you know it. Also, I
Speaking.
spy a new profile picture of my hey.
Okay, with the hair flat,
I'm not. I see it.
little silk press going on.
It's giving chocolates, and you know how I
Uh-oh.
feel about chocolates.
You got the glasses on. All
I
right.
love it.
With the team that does not enjoy the middle grade. And you hate to hear that. Genesis Begins Again was a heavy read on colorism for a kid's book. Yeah, I'm just like, maybe we need some of these YA authors to go ahead and stick their foot into new adult or full on adult. Because if this is what I want to
Man,
talk
can we
about,
just
then do
already
that.
make
But with
the
an
thing? Because
adult.
I just feel like y'all don't need to be making books for kids. Not that y'all don't need to be writing, but y'all
Right.
really don't be need to be making books for kids.
Because I
Like,
really wonder if some of these books that we're like, why would you do that? If it were not like, if the Latino, if she did that with,
if she was an adult, different conversation.
right.
You have the ability to understand exactly what type of traumatic situation
You're
you are
setting
putting
yourself up
yourself
for.
into.
Absolutely. It's different.
You
It's
a
just
little
different.
kid from a family of spies. That's like if Zendaya's character on the show wanted to infiltrate a white supremacist organization on the thing, like on Disney Channel. Like, what logical sense would that make?
And what parent would allow your kid to do that? What? You absolutely
Like,
won't.
so in a place where it's almost guaranteed you're gonna hear slurs. Why?
Absolutely not. Let alone if they find you. The stakes at
I
this
agree.
point are
I
not
totally
just
agree with
death.
Vina. I totally agree with Vina because the truth is then you'd have to elevate your storytelling abilities, your vocabulary. Like some of these authors are really okay with making very simple stories, trying to act like they're complex.
What Vina comment are you talking about? I'm not.
The one at the end where she's like, they don't want to write adult because it's harder to break into and they'd have to change their writing style. I'm gonna say I thought it was braids. Braids are locks, so yeah.
I'm so behind these comments.
She said, I'm not as chocolate as you would think. Oh, girl, let's give it chocolate.
Deidre said, please not legend born this morning. Okay. Let me pass through these comments. Yeah. Cincinnati mentions that they have groups like Broncos to Belay that connects. I liked when it all syncs up. I liked it. And I liked the way that she dealt with because those are things that you would experience if you were in ballet, and at least it was a constant conversation about her going to therapy and her having already been treated, so it wasn't like she had been isolated from resources. She didn't want to do it again, but she had been through it, and it was something that she was working her way through. So I appreciated it. That seemed like a far more realistic exploration of teen trauma than Legendborn. But again, like I mean, and Shay said this before, there's a difference between the the issues I have with YA fantasy and then things that happen in like contemporary YA. Like they just don't
I think
do the same.
contemporary
That's
handles stuff so much better because I feel like that's their. I feel like contemporary handles things so much better because that's their focus. And fantasy, their focus is the fantasy, and they just like, well, I know I gotta have traumatic stuff in here because
they make a metaphor out of everyday traumas, and it's like, or you could just be completely fictional. Like you don't have to engage it. That's the joy of the genre.
Right? It's weird. Right? Because again, the queen that is Elizabeth Acevedo, we got dead parents, we got teen pregnancy, we got abusive parents, like we got all these things, and the stories don't feel the same way.
Exactly. And I'm not familiar with it, but she did mention the when she went to the place where everyone was a Black ballerina from somewhere in the diaspora. So it didn't bother me. It was actually probably one of the few. If
I was actually like, honestly, I knew, like I had heard that it was like it had like traumatic things in it, and I knew like you were reading it physically, so I knew it was gonna be. I was honestly really happy and surprised when you were like you liked it because I didn't expect that. So it made me.
I'm not into ballet. I'm not
right. You're not into anything that the book is about, honestly. So I was like,
and it was so like there was everyone in the babies was going through something, and I was like.
Exactly. So I know you. So I was like,
whew. Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised because I think, like I said, when I was interviewing her yesterday, it was the honesty of it and that the resources were made, like there was never a moment where therapy wasn't on the table. But the reality is, even though we as adults are on the therapy train, that doesn't mean that kids are. That doesn't mean that all teens want therapy. Therapy doesn't have as big a stigma as it used to. They still there could be a stigma for them in school. Like everyone doesn't want it. So I liked that it wasn't ever not on the table, but it was a journey for them to decide how they wanted to engage with those resources. So yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of trauma, but it was realistic things that go on in the dance world. And so I was like, all right, we're not making things up to make them hard on these kids. That's really a struggle that you're gonna have to go through. That girl in Legendborn had a therapist, but like she was the only other Black person inside. Okay, the only one inside. Melodrama, just. It's 2023. Why are online resources never acknowledged? Sometimes you can't find people in your city, but you can. Hence what we're doing right at this very moment. Hence what we are doing at this very moment. I don't think any of us are in the same state, let alone city. Like we're all over the place and we still meet here every Friday at 10 a.m. Like we're here. Very good.
I am really not, and I don't understand why the conversation is you got to be alone as a Black person in these books. Because like literally I live in a place where there are very few Black people, and where they're much younger than me. So like the conversations and hanging out aren't really the thing. But this has been my way to connect with other Black people for 4 years now.
Exactly.
The internet makes my life still very full of Black people. So I just really don't understand. I don't understand.
She wrote the book for Black people. There were peers around her. She says this in an interview with the Black Scholar. I'll send you a few interviews if you want. She does talk about it, and she says like she was talking to a colleague who fancied himself a revolutionary, and he was like, if I really want to be a revolutionary, I have to kill my parents because they are complicit in white supremacy and they be going along to get along, and that really rubbed Butler the wrong way because her mother was a cleaning lady for a white family, and she was like, and had she not done that, guess what? We would have been homeless and hungry. So the things that present day being in like the 70s, because she wrote Kindred in 79, or published it in 79 anyway. The things that 70s revolutionaries fancy themselves to be activating for, that's all well and good. But to condemn our ancestors because of what they had to do to get us here, that's what we're not going to do. And so she wrote Kindred to force an encounter. And there's what's her name? Cheryl Vent writes an essay called Only by Experience, which is a quote from Incidents in Life of a Slave Girl, the first woman authored slave narrative, where she says, like, you have to experience something to really be able to speak on it. And she talks about, like, that is what Butler is trying to do in Kindred, is to create a scenario in which a contemporary Black Southern encounter the violence that so constructs their identity and their sense of self, their sense of history, without just like talking loud and saying nothing with your ideas of what you would have done if you were back there. Hence the discussion that Dana has with Kevin early on, where she's like, I'm gonna kill somebody back there, and him being like, you don't know what you're saying to even say that you would do that. They would more than kill you. So that she wrote it for it. Kindred was not like a book that was written for the white gaze. She wrote it for Black people who were talking crazy about their ancestors without really confronting the violence that their ancestors had to experience on a daily basis, which is why she sends Dana back. But now you got me giving a lecture. If you want me to send you the interviews,
no, I mean, not a lecture, but I mean, that makes more sense. Like, to say that would makes me want to read the book, because I wasn't going to read it. I'm telling you now, like, Kindred was never going to be a book I was going to read. One, I don't like slave narratives. So it was not like, it just wasn't going to be a thing. I wasn't going to put myself in that headspace. And she married to a white man. I wasn't going to deal with the like conversations that has to create personally for me. But for it to be a conversation, because even more than in the 70s, the I'm not my ancestors mindset that this new generation has is way worse than anything Black Panthers ever could have had.
Yeah. I'm just
because
like,
at least for the Black Panthers, it was still a Black unity, Black over everything. Yeah. This is, I'm not my ancestors, and we ain't really go through nothing. Like, so I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Right. But also, DJ, the other part is, why was they going to put that note in there in the 70s? They didn't give a about us and what we were doing. Like, that note wouldn't have been in there. Right. That disrespectful, like, go pick some cotton bull. Man, that's like, y'all want to leave the hands of facing racism.
I'm so behind in these comments. Mercy.
Y'all want to leave handling racism, and the kids that tell their ancestors to go pick cotton. Okay. In they Black History Month trend. Y'all got it. Couldn't be me.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know. Yeah, I agree that author's note probably wasn't going to happen. But do you want me to send you the interviews and
but also articles? I definitely hate that. And this goes back to being a writer and really, really taking time to consider, do I really want my work out there? Because if you don't have family, the ability to be able to make sure a note gets into later printings of the book or any of those things, you lose the ability to do. And just the world of difference, having children or a husband or cousins or whatever that could have put that in there for newer generations.
Yeah. And she's not around to do it.
And like, again, and we remember when I was looking up, like, after a certain amount of time, your book is public domain. And they can do whatever and print however and don't pay you for whatever. Will. What sense does that make?
And they most certainly will, especially if you're dead. Please, they're waiting for that clock to run out. They're waiting.
The clock starts as soon as you die.
And let you not have an estate, it's over.
It's over.
It's very over. So yeah, author's notes are definitely a way. But author's notes are definitely newer, because even with like forewords, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, I absolutely could be. I don't know that the forewords that are in like Toni Morrison's books were there on the first printing.
The only books I know, but again, by the time we start reading Mildred D. Taylor, her books have already been out for 20 years.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's the other issue. Is
it's
like,
not a first printing thing that happens later.
She puts everything. Like, she constantly would tell you, this is based off of my family. That's where these stories came from. They were in every one. But those books, literally, I'm reading them as a kid, not internalizing that she wrote these books 20 years before.
Yeah. So then you've had time to hear the conversations, craft this thing, and put it in the whatever the next printing is. So yeah, it's definitely something to think about now, but I don't think that it was as in vogue on first printings then.
Right.
Especially because without social media, you're not seeing these reader reactions with the same. You're not the same. You're hearing some stuff.
We don't have the internet. We don't have any of those things at the time that these books come out. And they're written for a Black audience, which at the time, publishing didn't care about.
I mean, there were people like Toni Morrison was an editor at Penguin Random House, but she was the exception, not the norm.
Right.
And I'm afraid to make feel similar.
She's talking about
I'm so behind these comments.
She's talking about Tristan Strong.
Oh, someone had asked how you feel about Tristan Strong.
And that's what she was responding to. I want you to text me about what happened on Twitter, DJ.
What happened on Twitter?
She said something that she seen with the author on Twitter put like a bad taste in her mouth.
Oh, for Tristan Strong? Mm-hmm. I like that he was engaging with African folk. Well, not African folk tales, but with like African American folk tales. I liked that part. I didn't finish it. I stopped halfway through, but that's just because I really struggled to read YA and have always like it's not written for me, so I just can't sustain
middle grade.
Yes, please help me.
I got you.
But yeah, I it's hard for me to sustain a reading of middle grade. I don't think I've ever finished a single middle grade in the past. It's been years since I finished one, but I did like Tristan Strong on what I read.
No, it's not. You did But Not Buddy.
That's true, but that took me 2 or 3 times to read. It had it not been like buddy reading with you at the time, I would not have finished it.
Oh, I know. That was why we made it the thing. Because it was like, there's some good, feel-good middle grade that makes
there
you
absolutely
just
are.
Because, man, you can't help but smile and laugh reading But Not Buddy. That little boy funny.
And then hearing Uncle Phil read it.
Man. Nostalgia. Man. It's like listening to Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, and listening to Lynn Thigpen read it.
I see. What'd you say?
I said it's like listening to Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, and listening to Lynn Thigpen read it, like the nostalgia of just, because she passed away.
Lynn.
Right. Like hearing her read, man.
Oh, Lynn. Do it. Oh, 8 to 18. Wow. That is quite
a series or one book. Because, man, listen.
The changes you
not that it's not needed. Not that it's not needed, but bruh, are you trying to indie or traditionally public? I'm just curious because
if that was a series, go for it.
If it's series, fantastic.
For sure, go for it. One of the things that Maya was saying yesterday was like she really had a hard time getting people to buy into the pacing of when it all syncs up because they said it was too slow. And I can hear agents and editors saying the same thing to you if you try to do that. Honestly, try to do it in a series or
right, because they don't like long times. They just don't like.
Even though they got us reading these 500 page, 16-hour book, like that's because they're blowing stuff up and traumatizing kids. But if you're not inflicting a lot of trauma on her, they gonna be having some pushback. I'm not saying to not do it. Do it.
I remember when me and Becca were like talking about like her like pitching her books and and like trying to get agents at one time before she decided to be indie. And she was like, every time they'd be like, oh, you need to break up this friendship. Oh, you need to break up this. You need to do this. You need to do that. And it was always something negative to do to the characters. Mm-hmm. And it was like, no, it'd be better if it was this. And it's just like,
would it though? Why? Yep.
Because I ain't gonna hold you, Desiree. One of my favorite things about the Babysitters Club was growing up with the family. Like, because it's just so long. So
that's why I'm like, you know what? Like, if it's a series, go for it.
I appreciate series like that.
Yes, I think there's a lot of space for that. Is this where it would it be like a middle grade into YA? Like, what age group are you considering writing this for? And I'm gonna go through these comments so that when you actually respond,
Man,
I'll be down there.
special place in my heart, Nia. I love me. I like Mildred D. Taylor can do no wrong in my eyes. First of all, who else carried a series for 50 freaking years? Nobody.
Um,
Oh, there definitely is. Full stop. There's that there's no debating this topic. Yes.
what disrespectful TikTok trend?
We talked about it before. I think you're not remembering, but it was like where during Black History Month, these neo whatever these little whatever, because they're not Gen Z. They're not. They're under Gen Z because Gen Z are adults. Like so, it's
What's under
whatever
Gen Z?
generation is in like high school right now.
That's not Gen
Because
Z.
that's not Gen Z. No.
I'm not gonna keep getting older. This is not going to
Right.
happen.
Like
Gen Z or high
you got
schoolers.
to be 30. Gen Z can't be in high school.
Dang.
Right.
Grown.
Right. But what was
Who's
happening
under them?
was it was like they were going back in time and they were seeing their ancestor as a slave. And the ancestor was looking at them and the ancestor was asking, what are you, a girl or a boy? Because what they were
What?
trying to do, yes, what they were trying to do was put LGBTQ things against blackness. So what would happen is the ancestor would be like, so the video would be like me going back in time to see my ancestor, and the ancestor asking, "What are you, a girl or a boy?" And then the person being like, "Does it matter? Go pick some cotton," or stuff like that. Like, girl, I'm covering my mouth because it's your channel, and Mr.
What?
and Mrs. Britt.
First of all, why would an ancestor ask that? How do you look when you're going back? I'm confused. Why would it occur to them to ask that?
Because they're saying like the way that which we move in today's society and dress and are, you can't readily tell who's a boy or a girl. So it's like going back and like I'm being my authentic self and I'm going back to the 1800s and my ancestor doesn't know what I am. Like trying to make
Was
it like
this
the ancestors
only?
being like trying to make it like the ancestors being homophobic.
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
Let's
No,
not go there with
because
why they
first of
might have
all,
some trauma
who
around.
WTF raised you? Because could not be my child. Could not be my child. Let me see one video of my. First of all, what phone? Internet who? Social media what?
You must be grown because I'm not paying for you to be out here embarrassing our entire family line like this.
Are you serious? Like what in the world?
Please. You making another call on my dime.
Man, at all.
Good morning, KJ. We've been on. Okay,
Nah, they mad weird, Maya.
Oh gosh, some of these new books has made me sure I'm very thorough with because people will try to twist for whatever their agenda is these days. That's really crazy to even be a trend. I tell you, people deal with things they don't want to. Absolutely. I mean, if you don't, slave narratives are hard. So I definitely get protecting yourself against that if your daily life right now is not set up to experience that trauma.
Right, yeah, not at all. And I know for me, like y'all know, grandma was super pro-black, so I was just, I was watching and reading so many things like that as a kid. Like I got burnt out so fast. Like every Black History Month, we got to do the souls of Black folk, and we got to do what's the name? The dude who did the Black National Anthem, his book, and it Weldon B. Johnson or John Weldon. I can't think of his name at the moment, but there's a thing that he wrote that we had to read, and it's just like doing that all your life is a lot. So when I was like, oh, I want to read Octavia Butler book, but I didn't know that, I was like,
He did. And he did that. I'm not gonna hold him. It's surely, and he could have been longer. If you read his essays, he had even more. Right. But I'm just like, why can't we do that? Why can't we not be like?
Why aren't we given that same space?
I mean,
I ain't gonna hold you because I got a few Stephen King books. I ain't read not one of them because they so thick. It's just real
Yeah.
big. And I just the
Yeah.
idea sounds very daunting. Like it's just like, yo, this thing got like 800 pages to tell one story. That's a lot. Did not like Tristan Strong. Okay.
Was it?
Mm.
Like I said, I only got halfway through. I was enjoying the folk tales coming to life. Why? I don't know. Where I was with Tristan Strong, I was enjoying seeing all of these folk tales come to life because there's a generation of, I mean, since there's a generation of Gen Z, maybe two generations of kids that don't know anything about African American folklore. So to have a middle grade engage so many of them, I enjoyed that. I didn't get to the part where it was problematic, so I won't say too much. I'll just say I like seeing the African folktales being so richly engaged in that middle grade. Um, I'm getting stuff for my cousin's son. I feel like I bought that book for a couple of
I would
kids.
say I like the one that me and Deidre read last year. I liked up until the last book. I'm not gonna hold you. The last book was like, I don't know why you did this, but
You read Tristan Stone?
no. The four that we read last year, the Arcade and the Triple T Token. It's a Black Boy middle grade series. First three
Mm.
could not stop praising, and then the fourth one was just this feels icky.
Oh wait, the Christian
Yeah.
middle grade thing. What happened in book four?
Uh, for some reason, I feel like they go back to like Deidre. Tell me if I'm messing this up, but don't they go back to
Before
like
it's text Shay.
slavery time or
Oh.
whatever? Don't they go back to like the Declaration or not the Declaration, the like Emancipation Proclamation or something in that time? Tell me I ain't make that up.
That is a fact. That is a fact.
Right,
Why are these word counts so freaking high?
right.
Lower them. Like and that's the other, like, the trauma is too much. But the
Yeah.
trauma over 120,000 words, I'm just like, what kind of stamina do you think that I have to be paying bills and be traumatized at the same time by someone else's life? No.
Right.
I'm just gonna watch my anime. Please leave me alone. It's one book I haven't written as a seed. That's an interesting idea. Okay.
Well, you know we in it.
Yeah.
We rooting for
Let,
you if you make it a
let
series.
us, yeah, let us know. Um, but yeah, they're definitely gonna push against, because I got so much flack with even part one of my book having, and she went from being what, 14 to 17
Yeah.
from part one to part two, and they were still like started with her
Was
being
it? I think
17.
it was 12. When she
12.
like
Yes,
12?
you're right.
Yeah, yeah. When she like 12?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
from being 12 in part one, and part one is the shortest part of the entire book. Time jump 4 years or 3 years, and she's no 4 years. She's
Sure, because
16,
she's
17,
right. Yeah, because right. It was
and they
like
were
why?
like, "Can we start it right here?" They don't. They not here for watching the kids age. They want them to have this adventure in a compressed amount of time with them being one age. And if they do age up during the book, it's like one birthday. It's not them really growing up on the page. They're super resistant to that. But again, tell your story. Tell your story. And that sassy black woman voice, Gun Baby, how it was even worse for me in the audiobook since it was a man narrating. I'm not gonna hold the book for the narrator though.
Yeah,
That's a difficult line to
that's it.
delineate
Right.
because that's his
And we know that
interpretation,
authors don't always have
the
a pick in
choice.
that. So
Yeah, like some like I feel like maybe it was Ayana and she put on her story. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm listening to like narrators reading samples of my book," and she had to choose from that sample. Which, first of all, that may not be a choice that all writers even get to make. But even if they do, you're only hearing them read a sample of the book, so they might read that sample really well, and then another way they interpret a different scene is like, that's not quite how I wanted that to be read, but you don't really get to see it all. So I'm not gonna hold the author for that because that's
yeah.
the narrator's interpretation of how Gun Baby sounded. Um, Great questions. Topics of my book: parental, parental alcohol addiction. MC finds interest in theater, yay, and plays how friendships fall
Yay.
apart and grow over the years. Okay, and grow, absolutely. Family therapy and other topics. That sounds like a series, Desiree, but you follow your heart. Um, it's younger Gen Z that are acting up, and a few adult millennials, unfortunately, being disrespectful. Woo, mercy. They were acting like our ancestors would be upset at us for doing simple things like resting. Why, when that's what they wanted to do? Okay. Um, these new kids are mad weird. They absolutely are. I was mad at the one talking about you can't read. These folks are terrible with wanting white gaze approval. Mercy. Arcade. They visit Abe Lincoln, Shay, while he was writing the Emancipation Proclamation. So Arcade can get help with two right choices. I'm all for exploring African American folklore, but why does it have to be through the lens of you are going to go through trauma as a Black child simply for existing? But his trauma wasn't because he was Black, right? The trauma was that his best friend had died in that bus accident. But again, I'm not really in a position to argue this point because I didn't finish the entire book, so I'm not going to hold you. That's why I had to put down Parable of the Sower. To be honest, I couldn't mentally handle it anymore. Octavia's books are hard. Octavia Butler's books are hard. They are hard. She is like, what book was I reading? I can't remember it. I buddy read it with Chloe on her channel, though. It's a nonfiction book. Ooh, it's going to bother me. It's going to bother me. I can't remember it. But the author was essentially saying, even though Toni Morrison got a high level of notoriety almost immediately, Octavia Butler published Kindred before Beloved, but Beloved gets all this praise, and Kindred, I mean, it is now, but at the time it wasn't necessarily. Like it was slower, and she was less of a household name than Toni Morrison. But she was like Octavia Butler is like a more accessible Toni Morrison. Like they don't handle different ideas, but the way they do them is like one is more accessible because she does it through like fantasy and stuff, and then Toni Morrison's more contemporary fiction, which is more of like raising the ordinary to the level of extraordinary by the attention that you give it. And so she was drawing a parallel between Morrison and Butler, that they're not that different of writers. As far as like the people that would like Morrison would probably like Butler too, but why did one get all this attention and the other not? His best friend died, but in the book it was framed as because you're Black, you're going to go through these hard things just like your ancestor did. I did not receive that message where I was in a book. Okay. Did y'all listen to the new Alexandria House audiobook? Are you talking about Goal or something else? Oh, you're talking about Goal. I am still in the middle of it from where I was last week. I forgot to go back and finish it. Why? What about it? Has anyone seen the video where the girl is criticizing Zora Neale Hurston? I will not be watching that.
The crazy part is the girl, like, she made no sense because, like, I follow Son Michaud. He's a Black.
Oh linguist. Yeah. At Harvard, he does like Black linguists.
And he brought up the video because people kept sending it to him. But what he did was he showed previous like tweets or videos of hers where she talked about like AAVE and how we speak. So he was like, it's not that you don't know and you don't understand, it's that you're choosing to still engage with these things on the other one. So nah. Like it's literally it's so dumb. It's beyond dumb. Like I don't get it. Like, why would you? I don't understand it because it's specifically a time frame and a place where the language makes complete and total sense.
Right.
And also, y'all don't give Shakespeare the same smoke, and we don't talk like how he talked at any point in time. Literally, you have to be taught how to understand what he wrote. But we don't get the same smoke for that. I mean, literally, the man made up words. There are so many words that exist that didn't exist before Shakespeare.
Exactly. Like, I'm not going to seek out that argument, although now that you're saying it, it does sound familiar.
Yeah.
Okay. So did we do another sprint? No, we did not, but that's okay because we had a good discussion.
Yeah.
It is
I was
12:50.
watching. I was like, we're not doing another sprint. It's gone.
I
It's
said
gone.
45 minutes ago, if we start at 11:30, then we'll do another sprint. And then 11:32 came and went, and I was like, well, we're here now because I am nowhere near caught up on these comments, and we gonna keep going. But yeah, thank y'all for this conversation and for engaging it. Shay and I could be up here talking forever, but it's better when y'all talk back, and which y'all know this well. I mean, let us not forget when we did When Black Women Speaks with
Man,
Bree. The first 3 episodes were 5
5
hours,
and
and
6
y'all was
hours
hanging with
every
us
time.
every time. And y'all was
Exhausting.
here. Y'all was with
Y'all
the
was
stuff.
here
Y'all was
the
with the giggles.
whole time. So,
Couldn't do it without y'all. We could certainly talk forever, but it's just richer and more vibrant when y'all are engaging in the comments, even if y'all are cackling at us and teasing me for my Whitley ways and my love of anime or whatever it is today that y'all are talking about.
or your colorblindness.
That lip gloss was red. Okay? And you're real petty for bringing it up. That's the truth. That's the truth.
I do it because I love you.
Anywho, ha. I mean, it's cool. I will always appreciate Alexandria House for getting me into like a non-toxic Black romance, but no, not this. Did you say I gotta go? I gotta head out. She really did start at that time. Y'all gotta see that. Yeah, I will always love Alexandria House for getting me into like the McLean brothers, all that. Like I will always. But as I've said, you got to guard your heart, and I'm not trying to read a lot of content that has a bunch of like explicit sex scenes. And she do that, and that she does that. Not some of her books less than others, which I appreciate, but in general, I'm just not engaging in a bunch of romance that has explicit sex scenes of any author, because it's not what I'm trying to write. So I need to be reading books that inspire me to do what I want to do at a higher level. Which is about when I stopped Goal. I stopped it when they started banging, and I haven't gone back, even though I could just fast forward that part, but I just haven't. You enjoy it. You must want me to talk about it. This is your second week asking me. If I had the time and space, I would just do a whole series on what had happened was me telling y'all about these books. And under the guise of it being a review, but it really just being a tea time. Because do I really know how to review a book without giving away all the spoilers? I don't. I don't know what that looks like. I don't understand the premise. I don't know where the lines are. I don't know where the lines are. And that's okay, because y'all be hanging with me anyway. I appreciate y'all. Okay. Now, we're going to close on out. Shay, outros? Okay. DJ Shay on the ones and twos.
I don't have nothing. I think I'll be co-hosting with Maya if she in here tonight on Twitch. I finished the painting and want to start another one, so I might go live on Twitch to start this painting. Y'all can like vibe with me and watch me paint this thing. But tonight y'all see me tomorrow sometime somewhere.
And there it is.
That's all I got.
What?
think she's probably meaning that the story had a character that was a virgin, and there's a lot like in a lot of stories now that's not a conversation like being an older virgin.
Was she a virgin? She sure was. I was like, but she wasn't. But she was. Yep. That's true. We're not. I mean, but there was a time. There was a time when maybe I just I stumbled into a subgenre where I think it happened right around like 50 Shades, when it was like a virgin being tossed into the depths of sexual
because of what you call it, because of that, which was
exactly.
Like,
so there
I was sitting there like I was like, this don't even like What virgin is like, yeah, I'm signing up for this off the bat? Like, really? What? You went from not even speaking to men to you just gonna let, okay, all right. I'm just
letting him run the ones on your
y'all got issues. Let's see why y'all need therapy. Because the hell, make it make sense.
You went from blushing to busting it wide open. Okay.
And not even busting it. Because you don't know what you're doing. You literally just let him do whatever, and I just...
Interesting.
I'm trying to see how I'd be a virgin and my first sexual experience is signing contracts and saying I don't talk about what I'm doing. What?
And safe words.
The first time. I didn't skip past go and collect $200. I need to go back. I need to go to Park Place and all these other Baltic Avenue first. Like, what the hell? Nah.
Just go ahead and put me in jail. Nah. I don't want to play anymore.
Nah, it's a no for me, dog.
Yes, I figured it out. I forgot because I started go weeks ago, so I forgot that she was a virgin. And then I do like that it's so low key. Like, it's not her entire personality that she's a virgin. She just is. So I did like that. But let that would be a whole other question if we really just started talking about the different ways that virginity is rep. So we're not going to do it. But
funny.
Okay, I'm here. I don't know what that was. Thank y'all so much for coming. Absolutely was more realistic. I did an interview with Maya Emayaw from who wrote When It All Syncs Up. It came out on Tuesday. If you have not watched that interview on my channel, it was a nice tight 1 hour. Go and see it. We had a lovely conversation. I don't think I have anything between now and next Friday, but I am planning another author interview for this month. So, do I have something else? Oh, it's June. Writerly conversation. I got some work to do today. Okay.
No, wait, because we're doing it on the third Tuesday, right? We moved it to the third Tuesday, right? Okay, so not this week, but you got a little bit over a week to get it.
The 20th.
Yeah, the 20th.
Yeah. Okay. Woo! Mercy. All right, y'all.
Right. Now that's all I was like, wait, hold on. Let me check real quick.
Forgot about that. So, yeah, y'all stay tuned. Thank y'all for a really cool, just vibrant, rich, all over the place per usual FriYAY conversation. And we read for 30 minutes or whatever. So, we did sprint. And we thank y'all very much
for whatever for me. It's the or whatever for me. I love it.
Listen, reading sprints and reading updates. That I put that on the thumbnail so I could be honest. Okay, workout done. Oh no, not as conversation after the sprint. So go back and see. But y'all have a lovely weekend. We really, really appreciate y'all. Can't wait to kick it with y'all again next week if the Lord willing, the creek don't rise. Bye.